Okay, you can have a seat there. Hi, how are you, Alicia?
Oh, you don't even understand. It's been such a stressful week.
Really? Has it been that bad since last week?
Well, it's been pretty bad. Terry, he got arrested last night.
Mm-hmm.
We got in this big argument, and I was trying to discipline his son, my stepson,
Mm-hmm.
for kicking my son in the groin.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went out there to discipline him, he came out and started screaming at me, "You're not effing disciplining my son," and in front of the kids, and I was scared, and they were scared, and
Mm-hmm.
I tried to get him into the bedroom so I could talk to him and find out what was going on, because I didn't understand why he was reacting that way. And the next thing that I remember, my daughter was in the doorway screaming for him to stop, and he was on top of me, and he was smashing my head into the ground. And he pulled out this big chunk of hair back here and got the bruise on my eye.
That must have hurt.
It's pretty painful today. I didn't really feel it last night. I guess my adrenaline and emotions were so hyped up that I didn't really feel the pain of it.
Mm-hmm. So, by disciplining your son, or his son, what do you mean by that?
Well, I had just walked out there and said, all right, well, you're going to have a punishment. What do you think that punishment should be? And that's when he came out of the room and started yelling at me like that.
So
I hadn't even done anything yet.
Mm-hmm. So how did that make you feel?
Well, I didn't like the fact that he's, questioning my authority, especially in front of the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't believe the language that he was using. I don't deserve to be cussed out like that by anybody, much less my husband.
Mm-hmm.
And we've made such a big deal for our family to be one cohesive unit,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not my children or your children. So for him to come out and say that I can't discipline his son,
Mm-hmm.
it makes me kind of feel like our families are not joined, that they're separated somehow.
So what you're saying is you feel like there's a disjoint or disconnect in what's going on?
Yeah, like he's, driving this division in our family.
Mm-hmm. Has that ever happened before?
Well, in the past, I guess he's sort of been like, this is my money.
Mm-hmm.
It's not our money.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. The money, I guess, would be the big issue.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always felt that, Kyle, my son, was 2 when we got married.
Mm-hmm.
So he's, I would hope that he would view him as his own child.
So how many children do you have together?
Well, I have my 2 from my first marriage,
Mm-hmm.
and he has his 2 from his first marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm pregnant now with our first child together.
How long have you been married?
Last night was our first anniversary.
Mm-hmm. So it was a pretty rough night for your
Yeah.
first anniversary?
Definitely rough. I was hoping that for our first anniversary it would be a happy and exciting time, but instead
Mm-hmm.
it ended up being a nightmare.
So you sound pretty disappointed about that.
Yeah, I felt really let down, and it makes me think, if he's acting this way already, what's it going to be like a couple years from now?
So with his previous marriage, have you talked about anything about why he left her?
Well, he didn't leave her.
Mm-hmm.
She left him. I guess he used to yell at her a lot and belittle her, and I guess the straw that broke the camel's back was he threw her into a tree and broke her collarbone, and that's when she took their 2 kids and left.
So it sounds like it's almost as if he's been physically abusive in the past as well.
Yeah, but he had never acted that way with me. I mean, and when I had talked, like, I didn't know the full extent of it when I first learned about that with Ginger, but, you know, he told me that she would intentionally try to undermine his authority and would, you know, nag him all the time, and she wouldn't work, and she wouldn't clean the house, and, you know, that he didn't want to act the way he did, but, you know, she just wore him down and didn't ever do any of the things that she was supposed to do.
So back to your husband, what really made him go to jail last night? Did you call the police on him, or did your children? What happened?
No. Actually, I called the police. I called 911. I finally got him off me and called 911. And while I was on the phone with the police, he went into the closet and got his 12 gauge shotgun and started threatening me not to be on the phone and not to call the police and who the F do I think I am. And my daughter walked by the room again, and he told her that the gun was for her, and that really was frightening. You know, and we waited for the police and waited for the police, and they never came. So I loaded my kids into the van and I drove across the street to the police station because I was terrified that they weren't going to show up, or if they did show up, that we would all already be dead.
So the police did not show up when you called. So were you scared at that point? Did you go with all the children at that point?
Well, no, I took my 2 children, but his 2 children, he had them behind him, and he was holding the gun like, you know, I'm going to protect my fortress or whatever. I don't even understand. I don't even understand why he got so mad. I am so confused.
You sound frustrated that you don't know what's going on, and yet everything looked good before. Right?
Yeah, frustrated, confused, I'm scared. You know, if next time, what's going to keep him from shooting us?
True. So tell me about your relationship before you met. Did he show any signs of anything like that?
No, he kissed the ground I walked on. If there was a puddle, he would take his jacket off and cover it so that I wouldn't get my feet wet. He was very, very attentive and very caring and loving, and he said he really loves Jesus and, you know, wants to have a Christian marriage and not, you know, really value his wife. And he was very upset that his first marriage ended, and you know, he has a lot of value in marriage, and, you know, he was willing to work hard at that and whatever it took to make it work.
So what are some of the things he would do or you would do to make the marriage work?
Well, I always tried not to nag him, you know, because he obviously didn't like that in the past. And I mean, I work really hard trying to help him with his business, and, you know, I go out and help him, like, do advertising, and I get customers and I do the contracts, and, you know, I keep the house clean and the kids taken care of, and really try to be a good wife.
Wow, you've done well. It seems like you work so hard in wanting to make the marriage work out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm upset about my first marriage ending too, you know, and I value marriage, and it's supposed to be forever, you know, till death do us part, and I'm not willing to get a divorce, you know, and so, yeah, you know.
So what happened in your first marriage, now that you bring that up? why did you break up, or what happened?
Well, my ex-husband, he never wanted to have children. And early on dating in our relationship, I had gotten pregnant. And I guess he did the right thing by marrying me, and we were going to have a family and stuff like that. And but we'd only been dating a short period of time, and he wasn't really wanting to be married. He was just trying to do what the world views as the right thing. And he was older and I was younger, and we had different interests, and we just sort of grew apart. We didn't divorce for a long time. We were just separated because neither one of us had an interest really in getting a divorce. But when I met Terry, I really liked him and wanted to be with him, and so I asked my husband if we should go ahead and get a divorce since we hadn't lived together in several years, and he thought that might as well go ahead and do that.
Wow. So tell me about your childhood growing up. Did your family also value family and marriage?
Yeah. Well, my parents are still married, and I say my parents, I found out when I was 18 that my father adopted me, and then he wasn't my real dad. I just was going through some papers and discovered that, and but I had never known that, and he had always been my dad, even far back, so that was sort of shocking. But yeah,
so how did you react towards that? You not knowing that you were adopted?
I didn't know who I was at all. If that wasn't true, and I would have sworn as that being the truth that was my dad, and to find out he wasn't, I felt betrayed, by my mom, and it made me wonder who I am.
So was that the time when you met your first husband, or how did that play out?
I had just turned 20 when I met my first husband, so not long after that.
So it sounds as though the betrayal or the feelings of betrayal made you want someone who could value you. Am I correct? Or?
Well, I didn't really want to get pregnant either. I just wasn't careful, I guess. But yeah, it felt good to have a man in my life that, was there and did nice things for me and treated me well. He did treat me well. He acted a lot of the ways that my dad acts towards my mom.
So the fact that Terry abused you yesterday makes you very sad, and you're confused about all that, right?
Yeah. And I called my parents while I was waiting on the police, and my father, he was so upset, and you could just hear the heartache in his voice, and he asked if I wanted him to come down to be with me and the kids, and he just felt terrible that had happened to me.
Sounds like a rough night, but it looks like you're strong enough to come today. And I wonder, have you seen a doctor yet about the beatings?
Well, the paramedic came and checked me out, and I talked to my doctor. Since I'm pregnant, they want to do like a sonogram and stuff like that, just to make sure the baby's okay. I'm planning on going there now after I leave here.
Wow, Alicia, thank you for sharing so much today. I know it's been difficult for you, but you've shown that you're a strong woman. And is there anything else you want to talk about today?
I guess not today, but maybe next time if we could talk about how to implement a safer living environment for the family, and maybe to be able to calm things down when they get so worked up at the house. That would be great. great.
Definitely, we'll work on that, and hopefully the court cases and the court hearings will go on well. So,
Yeah, I hope so.
thank you so much, Alicia. You have a good day, and we'll see you next time.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.